Welcome to A Walk Down Memory Lane. It's a show where we rewind the clock and relive the greatest moments in local sport. From cup match classics to title-winning seasons, you played it, we remember it. Welcome back to the legends, the players, and the...
Welcome to the IslandStats.com football show, your weekly dose of all the action from Bermuda's top football leagues. We bring you in-depth coverage of the Premier and First Division, results, highlights, analysis, and exclusive interviews. We also keep you up to date with the latest news and developments from the Bermuda Football Association. Stay tuned for the IslandStats.com football show, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the beautiful game in Bermuda. Now let's join the IslandStats.com football show team. And good afternoon and welcome to this edition of the IslandStats.com football show. I'm your host, Daryl Basden. Joining me is co-host Andrew Griffin. We do expect Garrett Pontedale shortly making his way from PHC. Let's run down the results from this weekend in the FA Challenge Cup semi-finals. Last night at Bernard Park, it was PHC Zebras 0, Devonshire Colts 2. Earlier today at the PHC Stadium, it was St. George's Colts 1, North Village Rams 2, and that was after extra time. We had a Premier Division match yesterday. It featured the Boulevard Blazers going down 6-0 to Crossroads, and there were two First Division matches scheduled. Somerset Trojans drew 0-0 with Southampton Rangers, and Vasco forfeited their match against Somerset Eagles at Police Field. Well, Griff, let's get right into these semifinals. Obviously, a big build-up last night at Bernard Park, PHC and Devonshire Colts, two teams still in a battle to try and catch the Dendy Town Hornets in the league chase. They went to battle. Last week, those two teams played to a 0-0 draw. Last night, Devonshire Colts got the better of PHC, scoring 2 goals to move themselves into the final. What did you think overall of Devonshire Colts' performance, what you saw last night?
It was a good game. I found it to be a bit scrappy. The ball was... They kept turning it over in the midfield, and it was, I guess, a factor of the energy and intensity. So they were a bit jittery, I would say, and it wasn't. They had some good spots, but there was no score for a while. So I know some of the people that went to the neutral fans that went to the Colts game last week were like, "Well, look, are we going to sit there all night again for another 0-0 with these two teams?" But they did have more, like in the first 10 minutes, there were a couple of shots. And they was like, well, that's already more than we had last week when they played. The week before, it seemed like, again, as we said last week, they were trying not to lose, both teams. But in this game, they were both trying to win because it was a semi-final. So they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I have to say, it was a good game. It wasn't always pretty, but it was a good tactical game, watching them jab each other and try to get the advantage.
Yeah, you look at a team like PHC and Devonshire Colts. Devonshire Colts have scored 35 goals this season in league play. PHC scored 29. Them drawing 0-0 last week, you wonder what's going on. As you said, they were trying not to lose. But two free scoring teams in 180 minutes is just 2 goals.
And then the goals came late, so they were they're evenly matched, and it was a good game. That's all I say. People are you'd be amazed when people say, "Hey, they wait all week for the show to come on Sunday. Hey, you better say something good about my team." So I'm gonna get it out of the way now. It was a good game, and I enjoyed it. Anything else you get from now on is a bonus.
What did you think PHC lacked last night to go 2 straight games against Devonshire Colts without scoring?
I guess it's the finish and like in those type games, Enrique Russell normally saves them. He pops in there with a goal out of nothing. So I think that's what they were mentioning. They had good build up, a lot of pace, good crosses, but they just couldn't finish.
Yeah, and one thing we could say, Devonshire Colts would be smarting all the way to the final now, because here they are, and I'm pretty sure if you would have said to 90% of the people across the island, without talking to Devonshire Colts people, would you expect Devonshire Colts to be in third place and in the FA Cup final at the end of the season? And I'm pretty sure 90% of the people that you're talking to would have said, no way.
Yeah, maybe some Devonshire Colts fans will get angry for you saying that, but I think if everybody's honest, I think they have to say yes. You'll be surprised, but I think no matter what happens in the final, it's a good season for them.
Oh, without a doubt, they've proved to themselves they belong in the division, and now they have to kind of convince themselves next season to do even better. If do even the same, if not better. To let everybody know that they deserve to be where they are. Young team, been together a long time. They all know each other. They all bond with each other. It's just a matter of, can they get it over the line? I don't think they have what's left to win the league, depending on what happens with that Paget match. That puts them. That could possibly, if they win that, put them in the driver's seat to catch up. Dendytown if Dendytown slip up, but I think their better chance of winning a trophy is come FA Cup final day.
Even if they do get the points from that game or they win that game, I don't think they're in the driver's seat. They need Dendytown to slip up.
But they will need Dendytown to slip up because they'll be 2 points behind them with 2 games to play.
Yeah, and I don't think Dendytown has more difficult games than Devonshire Colts. So
yeah,
the things that happen, but I stick to what we've been saying all along. Even watching these 2 semifinals, I still wonder, like, wow, how did Dendytown plays the more attractive, fluent football? And I'm like, wow, how come they're not in the semifinals?
They lost to North Village, right?
Yeah. Like they look much better. So it is surprising. Even today, we get to it, but I thought North Village struggled through the final. Final. Yeah.
Well, let's get into North Village, because as the defending champions, obviously they come in with an axe on their back, going up against the St. George's team that came from 2-0 down last week to beat them 3-2. St. George's would have had confidence, but what happened last week turns around and happens opposite this week. St. George's scored first in the first half, and then give up a goal in the second half, and then give up a goal in extra time. So one hand kind of washes the other. If you look at it, that's the way the ball bounces, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I say that there is not much difference between these 2 teams. And looking at the game, some people may disagree, but I think the win did play a factor. It was like it wasn't a direct headwind or tailwind. It was going diagonally across the field from Baptist towards the gas station. So.
Okay.
The team that was defending the Berlin at the end, they were at a disadvantage. You're going against the wind, and all the goals were scored at that end.
Oh.
It was tougher doing that. So Village scored in the extra time going at that end, and then now they just defended like crazy not to give it up. So I do think the wind played some degree in it, because I think a lot of the time, like in the first half before they adjusted and they made some subs at halftime, the St. George's speed was definitely killing North Village, and they were getting behind them, and they probably could have been up more. I think some St. George's fans after the game were a little aggrieved that they felt St. George's should have had a penalty in the first half, and I thought it was a penalty when it first happened, but other people said the George's attacker basically ruled Terran Free and ran down the middle and was going for goal. And Terran Free lunged and he hooked the ball between the attacker's leg and ran up, and they both fell over. So like some refs might call that a penalty, some not, but He poked the ball, but he also fell on the player. So I thought he was lucky to get away with that.
Well, they say luck runs with the champion sometimes. So you know, and that's the problem in the game, because I'm pretty sure. Let's jump back just a little bit. The penalty that PHC encountered last night, that Devonshire Coast took the lead. Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah. I thought it was. You could argue one way or the other, but yeah, I thought it was a penalty.
Because it's always going to be that way, regardless. Even a clear-cut tackle in the box, the whoever's against that, the fans are going to say, "Oh, that wasn't a penalty." So it's always those type of things that's going to be the talk of the town. But that happens in a matter of seconds of the game, where you still have 89 other minutes to do something else. You know what I mean? And I always say that.
Yeah, and you could clearly see that the pace of St. George's up front was definitely unsettling North Village in the first half, because the defenders were dropping off. They weren't even the goal that St. George's got. The defender dropped, and then the keeper came to help him, but the striker got there first, and the keeper was in no man's land. He just lobbed him into an open net. So that's what the pace is what caused the problems. It's the indecision. They made changes at halftime, and that's why coaches get the big bucks. It changed the game again. And the band again also played a robot. You found the second half, St. George's were on the back foot, and Village kept doing that. So it was a tale of two halves.
So did you thank Nikita for giving your coach some advice?
Some tips. Yeah, he probably learned a lot in the 2 weeks that he was with her. It's lucky. Maybe she'll be on the bench for the FA Cup one.
Oh boy. It's always one of those things. But just a quick look forward to the final, because I mean, these two teams have some history this season. Devonshire Coast,
and that history is Devonshire Coast winning all the time.
Yes, and I was going to say that, because a lot of people were probably thinking, of the negative side. But Devonshire Coast has been beating North Village all season. But they're going to go up to the National Sports Center, and North Village will be the defending champions. What are you expecting from North Village on the day?
Well, I think that's a tough riddle to solve, because I think and Ray was at the game today, so they were looking at what happened. And I think the issue is can the defense of North Village negate the speed of the attack of Devonshire Coast? That's the real thing, because you can see how St. George's got out on the first half today. So if I'm Devonshire Coast trying to set up for him, it's like, hey, we got to go at them and unnerve them and see what we can do. Get an early goal and put them back on their heels.
Yeah, and the pace, the field itself up at the National Sports Center is a fast field anyway. So you put a bit of speed on top of that. Obviously, North Village is going to have to play half of the field if they feel as if there's going to be a lot of pressure to allow, if the ball's played through, to allow the goalkeeper to have a chance to get the ball as well.
A lot of the stuff that you see at club fields where the ball, it doesn't roll through, and it's just little bumps and this and that. At the National Stadium, the ball will roll through, and it helps the faster teams. Yes.
But given time to work on those type of things for up there, and I'm pretty sure North Village will be watching Patches, and the coaching staff of North Village will be watching the tapes back to see just how Devonshire Coast has been able to break them down, and I'm pretty sure Ray has been looking at tapes to see how they were able to break North Village down, and that's going to be a kind of chess match up there on final day.
And that final was 3 weeks away, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
And I would say that I believe Devonshire Coast is a younger team, and that favors a younger team. Because I stopped by the quasi post party at Workman's, and I saw a lot of the North Village players. They were walking like me after the game. So like they didn't look that great. after 120 minutes. I think a lot of the older players, they're gonna need every minute of the 3 weeks to recover.
Right. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, definitely. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the Premier Division matchup that took place at the Police Field yesterday between Boulevard Blazers and Crossroads. We'll be right back.
You ever crack open a Coke and just perfect?
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
Get ready for some high-speed action this month as Lindo's proudly sponsors the Showdown at Sundown Go-Kart Racing Extravaganza. Join the excitement on Friday and Saturday, March 27th and 28th at 8 p.m. and watch drivers battle it out under the lights at Southside Motorsports Raceway. Enjoy the atmosphere and cheer on your favorite racers. And when it's time to stock up for race day, remember, Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, over 135 years. It's been clear, Pages silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian. Digicel is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, Griff, Boulevard have a matter of 2 matches remaining in the Premier Division for this season. Took on Crossroads. Crossroads looking to, well, one more after yesterday's match. Crossroads were looking to put themselves in a position of 4th place. Third place, overtaking Devonshire Cougars, and they did just that with a 6-0 win. So they move on to 22 points. Unfortunately for the Boulevard, they still have 6 points, 1 win, 3 draws, and 13 losses for the season. Just Crossroads, they're finishing off strong after quite a good start, and then in the middle it was just saggy football that they couldn't control those results, and now they seem to have bounce back. What's your thought?
Well, from what I was told, that period in the season where they dipped off, they had a few injuries, people were sick. So I think that speaks more to the depth of the team.
Right.
They're probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 players away from really contending. So I think they have good coaching, good players, a good nucleus, but they need just a little bit more to get to the top, so that you can be a strong 3rd, 4th, or 2nd. But in order to contend, you need to be at least 20, 25 deep with players for a long season.
So their hope this season, in the off season, is that no one leaves and they pick up a few more to bolster the numbers, because what I'm hearing is that they just don't have the numbers themselves to. And one of the things that Ponchios talks about is the quality numbers too, because you're going to need somebody to replace somebody, but you need a little bit of quality that's coming in.
And normally during the season, they have a little bit of drop off in February, March, but it hasn't been. February, March is when their players are fasting for, a lot of the Muslim players are fasting for Ramadan. So they struggle to be still doing 90 minutes of high intensity Premier football, but they've come through strong this year. It was the earlier months, like when they went from leading the league to losing 3 or 4 games in a row that did them in.
Yeah, that was in November heading into December. Because, like you said, yeah, for September and October, they were kind of unbeatable at times. You know, they beat the big teams. They beat the North Villages. They beat these big teams. It's just that they had that little stumble in that middle after November, heading into December. But again, they're showing a bit of quality at the end. They got a hat trick from Donovan Thompson yesterday, which puts him right in the mix for goal scoring, moves him on to 13, right with Zico Lewis, 2 behind David Jones, 1 behind Enrique Russell. So it's all shaping up to finish definitely in the Premier Division, in the goal scoring. It's just getting exciting.
But Crossroads seems like a fairly cohesive unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect them to lose a lot of players in the offseason. I think they probably will be one of the teams, I think, that could probably gain a couple.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, and as you would know as well, players go to a team because they think they can make the team, not to become a number in the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But just like a few weeks ago when I got in trouble for joking about Vasco getting anybody new that comes to the island as Portuguese or Brazilian, they're probably the more likely ones. But I think if, let's say, out of these 600 new hotel workers, somebody comes here that has like a Muslim background and Crossroads is predominantly Muslim, they will probably be the odds-on favorites to attract that player. So you never know what's going to happen once new people come to the island.
Okay, that's a strong point as well. Yeah.
Allah provides for all.
Yes, that's a true statement. That's a true statement. Yes. Just gotta. Okay. So, are we ready for this news? The Bermuda Football Association and head coach Michael Finley have mutually decided to part ways effectively today. Coach Finley oversaw the senior men's national team activities as well as provided support to the under-23 and under-20 teams over the course of his tenure. During his time with the Gombe Warriors, Coach Finley has been a part of some firsts for Bermuda, and we are grateful for his experience. The team reached the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminaries and the final round of the CONCACAF qualifiers road to the FIFA World Cup 2026. The Warriors also participated in the first FIFA series in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We thank Coach Finley for his service to the game in Bermuda, the senior men's team program, and commitments through the FIFA March international window will be overseen by Maurice Lowe, BFA Technical Development Director, while the Player Development Committee completes its work to appoint a new head coach.
So I always thought that the use of Coach Finley was like a temporary solution, and I'm surprised that it lasted. How long was his tenure? 2-3 years?
It was supposed, well, it was. I knew he had a 3-year contract, and I think it lasted 2 years.
Right. So I was surprised that it went that long. It didn't seem like it was put in place to be a long-term solution. It looked like a little cap until we could work out what we wanted to do. And I think if he's leaving early, that's forced the issue. But I want to believe that they were proactive and they were coming up with a plan in this 2 years, because I don't think that plan could have lasted 5, 6, 7 years. Like I don't think it's viable.
Right.
Having a non-Bermudian coach is not based in Bermuda. But I think people with unrealistic expectations kept saying, "Oh, when things aren't good, big teams were beating us. So it's got to go." I said, "Well, okay. Who do we get to replace him, and what is that going to cost?" It was like we can't afford like the big coaches like what Jamaica and Trinidad. Nobody's out there with $1 million there. Give that to a coach. We need this coach. I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm a little taken back to be honest, only because if we have a match in March, why not just see out the match and then that the new person you're working on a new person to come in and do a job getting ready for September. Now the whole, I mean, I'm not discrediting what Maurice could possibly do, but now everything's up in the air. You know what I mean? You got an interim coach. You have.
So let me read. Don't go forward. So let's connect the dots. If there's a match coming up, and we thought he was going to be here, and he had a 3-year contract, and it's gone after 2, that means behind the scenes something went wrong.
Well, yeah.
It's been a disagreement with what's happened. And he said, "Okay, I'll go." So I've heard rumblings that there was a meeting maybe a month ago regarding whether or not to hold on to the coach or not. But you often hear certain things, but you kind of you don't just put it out because you hear it. You need some facts behind it. So clearly there was some meetings going on behind the scenes, and today at just after 6, actually 6:20, came an email that said that the two parties have decided to part ways, and it's one of those things where you often the Tottenham coach saved his job today, and Bermuda has lost their coach today. How's that? Yeah. But just like you, I heard the rumblings as well, and
yes,
some of the rumblings are saying that there are people, I would say, less technically inclined that were weighing in on team selection.
Yes,
that doesn't go well with coaches. So maybe it got to a point where you know what, I had enough. If you want a team selection, then pick the entire team. See you later. But
right.
That's
now,
just guessing. So.
But here lies the other problem. So Finley had assistant coaches. Why aren't they taking over the team? Why have they been overlooked and Maurice takes over as opposed to John Barry Newsom? And they had Kenny working there. They've had others working there. This will be an opportunity to have some of the leading coaches in the Premier Division help out. You know what I mean?
A very good question, Sherlock. We have to put you in the case. I would be interested to hear the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, does the whole staff go with Finley? I mean, there's got to be the questions, because in the press release that I just read clearly does not include the coaching staff that was there.
Yeah, whatever the answers are, this sounds a bit messy, but there's probably not any easy answers, and the solution probably is hidden behind some rock. It's not going to be easy to find. I wish them all the best, but again, while we're trying to work through all of that, football and the team's going to suffer
for a period. Yes. Because obviously now these guys that have been with Finley for a period of time would have played in the system somewhat, and now for this last game or this next game in a matter of weeks or whenever it is, does Maurice change the formation? Does Maurice change the system? Does Maurice, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know he'll have a chance to work with some players for that period before the match, but what does that look like? And until we actually see it, and I want to wish, because he's been put in this position, I want to wish Maurice all the best. You got to support him. We've got to give him, everything we can. But again, I think we need to figure out and find out, is the likes of John Barry still involved with the program, with the senior program, because he used to be he had an academy team for a period, and then he moved up to the senior level. I see Punchy is now trying to join us. What we're going to do, we're going to take a second commercial break. Let me just bring him in. Hey, Punchy, how you doing?
Hey, good evening, fellas. Sorry, my lateness. That's
No worries.
You're drinking champagne, innit?
Well, you can't drink champagne until the final. What we're gonna do, Punchy, we're gonna take our second commercial break. When we come back,
Yes.
I'll reread the breaking news that just got sent to us, where Michael Finley and the Bermuda Football Association have parted ways. We'll be right back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Looking for something fresh this March? Try Wonder Juices, including the new Wonder Green. 100% organic cold pressed juices in glass bottles, made with real ingredients and no shortcuts. It's a simple way to add something clean and natural to your day. Distributed by John Barrett and Sons and available at Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Texas, beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian.
You ever crack open a Coke and just... perfect.
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
And welcome back. Well, Punchy, let me just get back to this letter that was sent out by the Bermuda Football Association after 6 this afternoon, and it reads, the Bermuda Football Association and head coach Michael Finley have mutually decided to part ways effective today. Coach Finley oversaw the senior men's national team activities as well as provided support to the under-23 and under-20 teams over the course of his tenure. During his time with the Gombe Warriors, Coach Finley has been a part of some firsts for Bermuda, and we are grateful for his experience. The team reached the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminaries and the final round of the CONCACAF qualifiers road to the FIFA World Cup 2026. The Warriors also participated in the first FIFA series in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We thank Coach Finley for his service to the game in Bermuda. The senior men's team program and commitments through the FIFA March international window will be overseen by Maurice Lowe, BFA Technical Development Director, while the Player Development Committee completes its work to appoint a new head coach. Well, Punchy, hearing that news, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it's whoa, that's a shock. But I thought that statistically wise, I've heard some rumblings throughout my conversation with people about Finley's tenure as a head coach and his success rate, and it there's always something about him remaining as a national coach. So it seemed to me that in my conversation with people that there was a lot of things that didn't seem right. Results wise, I think when you think about it, if you look at statistically wise, what his results was, and we be doing better. And I just think that so many people were saying about he lives in Canada. There's a lot, people saying he's not amongst us. He don't live here. He don't see games. And there was a lot of as I said, Bermuda talk about should he remain in the position. So I don't know if it came about of that, of those results, or just that the direction that the Football Association is going in.
But most of the players that play for the national team don't live here. Would we be better off having a coach in England that can see more of the players?
No, I just think,
maybe that's the move. Yeah, Punchy.
Well, in terms of see, okay, let's say for instance, okay, he was on to the in Costa Rica. What's really his position? What is the contract involves on? Is he a technical director or is he just a national coach? And I think that's a cause for concern also, in terms of direction. Because I know for a fact that when years ago the national coach also became, maybe he had dual responsibilities as also technical director and directing where the country is going in terms of how football is shaping this country. Was Finley a part of that? So what is his contract? What is it that he's to do? And most of the time, he's what?
Maurice Lowe is the technical director.
Okay. So if you go back years ago, when I was coming through, Alan Jones and the other ones, were they also national team coaches? But was they also technical directors?
I don't think it's been a.
On the Bernd Fischer, on the Zeitz, what was Zeitz's responsibility? What was his contract for Cedar? Because it seems like Zeitz was involved with everything. Zeitz lived here. Zeitz was going to football games. He watched the games, the club games, and Zeitz was always involved with us. I don't think it depends on, again, what his contract is. What is it that Finley was responsible for?
I think by reading between the lines. So Maurice's official title is BFA Technical Development Director. I believe Michael Finley's ultimate role was senior head coach, and he would assist in the U23s and U20s, but his primary job was to deal with the senior men's team.
So I think I've been out of BFA as the executive over 10 years, and 10 years prior to that they stopped having the coach be a technical director. So I think it's over 20 years before a coach has acted as technical director.
So this question is talking about what is okay. The technical director does what, and of course, I'm just asking the question. But as far as I know, in the times when I was involved in national program and playing, the technical director was also the coach. I believe that's how it went. And right. I don't know what's happening now.
Back then it changed now. Yeah. It has, and Griff just mentioned it. It has changed over the years because we saw even when from the U.S. What was his name? Oh gosh.
Broadly.
When Broadly was here, you remember he had Richard Todd was the TD. Broadly was the coach, if I'm not mistaken, or there was a partnership of some sort, somehow, some way, during that time there. It's one of those things. I believe that Maurice's job is to kind of filter from senior down to junior or junior up to senior, the style in which we want to play, getting the coaches all on the same page, all that type of stuff.
Overseeing the national academy.
Yeah.
I see. That's kind of confusing. It's like confusing for me what you're saying, and because like okay, let's I'm going a little bit further. This, let's say Tuchel, who's the coaching of the national team of England. When he's to games, well, it's Aston Villa. He's watching players, right?
Yes.
He's taking notes on okay, how's the player? Well, there's the players that's interested in. So he's naturally there when they show the So
Yeah.
what do we do here? Who's watching these players here who's gauging them for selection for the national program? What fits? I don't see Finley there, and I definitely don't see Maurice Lowe there. So what is how are we like? It seems something like something's not working here.
But
Because last night, on Saturday night, I'm trying to figure out, I don't know who was down there representing the national coaching program. I don't know if Maurice Lowe there to see, is it technical director or who's the coach? Because I'm only saying to you that the coach that coaches a national program must be to the club games to watch the players who's interested in, and I don't see that happening. So it's kind of like something's not right here.
But,
And we're
can I say something? But I would say 90% of the players that play the national team don't play club football in Bermuda.
Yeah, but see, I don't agree with that. What I'm saying to you, even if they don't, then
Right.
who is actually watching them? Who goes and scout them? So even if you're thinking about promoting the Bermuda-based players, you got to have somebody down there watching them all the time and making comments. Okay, we're going to head him into this. We're going to start looking at him, looking at the whole brothers. I think I watched today. There's a few players in St. George's team, especially the young midfielder. I don't know. He came from Andrew Bascom's camp. He's a good little midfielder. And the point that I'm saying to you, but how can you even know what's going on if you're not somebody there continuously making notes and evaluating people
Right.
for the national program? So it makes no sense.
When they selected, they knew
At
that
this level in Bermuda. What's that?
When they selected him, they knew he'd be based in Canada, and they went with it. So I would assume the other assistant coaches that are in Bermuda, they would have that task to look at the Bermuda-based players, the 3 or 4 of them that they do want to pick.
Not only them, but also when you start looking at the what is, I want to get the technical name right, the player development committee. They have to be looking at players as well, because obviously
yes, exactly.
they're producing players into the sport, not just the coach, because it's a group environment. It's a team environment. So I don't know everybody on the player development committee, but obviously their role is to also look and bring some local based players into the training setup.
But again,
exactly. That's what we're talking about.
We don't have $1 million for a coach. And if we did, we could have the coach travel to Bermuda, be based in Bermuda, put him up in a house in Bermuda, fly him to England to look at some games, fly him to the US, look at some games, fly him to Canada, wherever the players are. But we don't have that type of money. So I think we rely more on film to look at players.
Well, see, Griffin, my point is this, sir. See, if you're going to talk, you're going to be in the conversations, and I'm saying this really sincerely. If you're going to be in a conversation with trying to compete with the Costa Ricans and the Trinidadians, and then you got to do all this, you got to find a way to help these people go and watch these games. You can't just have Maurice Lowe, as the technical director, doesn't know what's happening with the players and the Bermuda players they're interested in, or the players in England. Like this gonna take a sacrifice. Okay, well, this is your job. You get on the flight. Now we're getting ready to play in the Caribbean CONCACAF tournament. You're gonna check all these players. You have to go and do this. Otherwise, we're gonna still fall short of managing what we're gonna do to get to that level, and be always falling short. Now, is it off the field? I think it's management off the field. Exactly, that's what it is. I really do truly believe that. You cannot, again, I'm going to repeat myself. If you are in the conversation, when we start beating the teams like Antigua, Aruba, and those other teams that are below us, now we're getting to the Costa Ricans and the Barbados, and the Trinidadians, we're going to be much more proficient in terms of the players that have been neglected. But we don't have access to. We need to know all the concern. We need to know every single player what's going on, and whose job is that responsibility? Who's that responsibility?
Well, what? Because this for us is a guessing game until more has been revealed. They just released this information. What I will do is reach out to the Bermuda Football Association for them to join us next week Sunday, and see if they will join us next week Sunday to give people some answers on what is next, because we have to have an idea of what is next in order to move forward.
That's right,
we've already dealt with something now, so yeah, I will reach out to them to see if somebody will join us next week, to give us an idea of where we're heading, and kind of, because everybody's going to be talking. There's going to be some people that say, "Oh, it's a bad move." Other people's going to say it's a good move. But it's football that's going to hurt for a period of time, and we just need to get over this impasse and move on. I'd say thank you to Mr. Finley for what he's been able to do for us as a country. I'm pretty sure there'll be some footballers reaching out to him, and even some fans reaching out to him to say thank you. It didn't always go our way, but hey, we now have to move to that next level, that next mark in our football. So,
but I think what we're talking about here is everything comes down to money. It's finances, and there are people that you talk to that still say, "Oh, we need a professional league or a professional team." And I think the whole business is not viable in Bermuda. And I know the financial details intimately from when they partnered with BFA, and we had to finance it and work together. It's just not viable unless you can assure me that we get 10,000 fans out each game. It ain't gonna work. And I think looking at all the international games that we go to, we struggle to get 2,000 fans out. So being realistic, it's not viable. We have to cut our crew off to suit our size.
Yeah, definitely. Just going through some of the messages that I missed while we were in the conversation. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a third commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about those 2 first division matches, get into our picks, and we have picks for next week as well. So we will be right back.
Silence beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, in every single day, for over 135 years. It's been clear, Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence, proudly Bermudian.
You ever crack open a Coke and just perfect?
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
Get ready for some high-speed action this month as Lindo's proudly sponsors the Showdown at Sundown Go-Kart Racing Extravaganza. Join the excitement on Friday and Saturday, March 27th and 28th at 8 p.m. and watch drivers battle it out under the lights at Southside Motorsports Raceway. Enjoy the atmosphere and cheer on your favorite racers. And when it's time to stock up for race day, remember, Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, we had the first division matches that took place yesterday up at Somerset Cricket Club. Somerset Trojans hosted Southampton Rangers. Somerset went into the game tied on points, leading Robin Hood on goal difference. They managed a 0-0 draw. So Somerset now have a 1-point lead atop of the first division with one game to play, and that one game is against Robin Hood on Sunday at PHC. So all to play for on Sunday, but I'm pretty sure Somerset would have wanted the 3 points against Rangers to kind of ease their mind, but hey, Rangers showed up and showed out. So it's going to come down to next week, and we'll get into that talk, obviously, when it comes to the picks. But Punchy, are you surprised that Somerset did not get a goal against Southampton Rangers this time around? You're muted, Punchy. You got to unmute your mic, Punchy.
Oh, good. Maybe it's frozen. But I'm surprised because this will be the first real pressure game that's going to simulate what it's going to be like in Premier. So you need the point. I would imagine they want to win the league, and they were in the driver's seat. So I would imagine that we got to win this game just so that when we go into the last game, it's not as much pressure on us. And they didn't come through. So I think they stumbled a bit. If this is anything to gauge themselves going for next year, then they got a little bit of work to do.
Maybe they were thinking too far ahead and thinking of next week's game yesterday instead of thinking of yesterday's game. That's one of the things that the head coach had talked to me about when I interviewed him. That they still had 2 games left and they were concentrating on those 2 games, but maybe they were thinking past Rangers. Punchy, you want to add? Yes, you're still muted. You got to unmute your mic.
Will it read?
Okay, all right.
See, I think Griff's the best host.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's again, Griff. I agree with you. Really, those are the kind of games that you have to be winning so you can win the league. And my concern for that result today would be on next year on a Sunday afternoon down at St. George's. What needs to be done, and it's again, you guys, we talk about results. And then when you look at like today, I'm like, to me, that's a real light bulb for me in terms of what Summers going to do next year. It's going to be a very difficult. It's going to be it's going to be a difficult season for them for next year. Yeah. And I thought they should have won that game comfortably today, definitely.
And then the other match, first division match that was not played, Vasco forfeited their match against Somerset Eagles at Police Field. They forfeited a match last week against Somerset, and what I was told is that several of their players had COVID. I'm talking Vasco. I'm not sure if they still had COVID and forfeited again this week, but the end result was they forfeited. The interesting part is they have one more game left, and remember, if you forfeit 3, you're out. I remember Wolves one year forfeited the last 3 games, and it was supposed to be something where they were supposed to be out of the league, but they managed to come back. So we'll have to see what happens there if Vasco don't show up next week.
Hold on. Let me take the glove off.
Yeah.
How you just smack me down for saying that you needed work permits and get all upset and twisted around because we got a development plan in place. Our coaches are working hard and we have a system and then you're not even showing up to games. How you gonna do that? Come on. I think we should get the president one next week. Let him have a word. We can go over what the development plan really is.
No.
And the other thing is about this. So if they're well done, Griff. I'm saying the other thing is about it. So they don't show up next. What's the penalty if they don't show up next week with a team? What's the penalty?
I don't know because we never got an answer when it happened to Wolves a few years ago.
So I would say on that.
Yeah. So
interestingly enough, at the today, I was with a lot of let's say outer statesmen. And their opinion was what happens in Paris. They shouldn't let them back in the league. So you disrespect football and don't show up in football games, don't go back. I said, well, what about the players? They said, hey, all those players, let them go to other teams and make those teams stronger. I was like, that's a little harsh. They said, hey, it was harsh bringing the league into disrepute and not showing up to your games. I was like, wow. And there's a few people that feel that way.
Yeah.
So again, getting back to the point about the penalties for not showing up in your third game. So if they don't show up, they'll be suspended. Oh, so what they give them a year suspension from the league altogether, or what do they do?
That was the understanding a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever it happened. A few years ago when it happened, but somehow the next season the Wolves were in the league, and so I don't know what
I think in some situations like that, at the AGM, the members can come together and decide whether they want to override or do whatever. It's because everything comes down to the membership. So
Right.
the 21 affiliates or whatever, they can make any determination that they want.
Right.
Or BFA.
But on the floor, yes, they actually run it, yes, yeah, definitely.
And I see it happen in the past.
But yeah. I've been to a few AGMs and seen some wild things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, look, let's get to these picks from this past weekend. And it was Vasco and Somerset Eagles. We all took Eagles. And of course, Vasco didn't show up. We all took Somerset Trojans to beat Southampton Rangers. That didn't happen. We all took Crossroads to beat Boulevard Blazers. 6-0 Crossroads. Devonshire Colts and PHC in the FA Cup semifinal. Myself and Griff took PHC. Punchy took Devonshire Colts.
Punchy.
And then St. George's and North Village, we all took North Village. So at the end of the day, I got 3, Griff got 3, Punchy got 4. It is 85, 88, 86. Griff, Punchy, myself. All right. So this
what's their scores?
95, 88, 86.
All right. I'm gonna read with you, man.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
No. I think it's 87, 87.
No.
Didn't you have 84?
No, I had 83.
Oh, you were behind Punchy?
Yes, behind Punchy, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Not to worry. So this weekend is the final First Division matches. The Premier Division have 2 weekends of football left. So we're going to start with midweek games. We have 2 games on Wednesday night. Boulevard Blazers versus Devonshire Colts. I'm going to go with Devonshire Colts. Punchy?
Devonshire Colts and who? Oh,
Boulevard.
Oh, Devonshire Colts.
Griff?
hey, you had me when you said Devonshire Colts.
Okay. Then the second game of the night is Devonshire Cougars versus St. George's Colts. Punchy?
What's the game to you? Cougars?
Oh, direct, yeah.
That depends. The crisis that Cougars are in, St. George's lost today. It would show reputation in terms of, who wants to play for what.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a Friday night game?
No, Wednesday night. It's Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. I think I'm going to Cougars for that.
Okay. Griff?
Hey, to all my St. George's fans that saw me celebrating a little bit too much today, apologize. But I'm going with St. George's next week.
Okay. Yeah, Punchy, you made a mention of the little bit of crisis that Devonshire Cougars are in. They play good one day. You never know what you're going to get. I'm going to go St. George's on this one. They will want to climb over they will want to climb over Cougars after this. So, all right. Griff, I'm glad this worked out this way.
You got a tough one for me?
Robin Hood hosts Somerset Trojans at PHC Stadium. Winner takes all.
Hey, you know what? Just because it's so anticlimactic. Who? What's the goal difference? Who would win if either team wins? The goal difference is
Somerset are 1 point ahead. So there's no difference. The goal difference is out the door. Somerset are 1 point ahead.
You know what? Anti-climax. I'm taking a draw.
You're taking a draw. Okay. All right. After that letdown yesterday, I think they'll be up to try and face Robin, and the first game of the season, Robin Hood beat them. I'm gonna take the Trojans to win this game. Punchy?
I'm not going with that, you guys. I think I'm gonna take Robin Hood to win this game.
Okay. Punchy. Somebody's gonna get
Somebody.
I'm taking Robin Hood to win that game.
Without a doubt. Okay. All right.
That's all that's left for him.
That's all that's left.
If Keysham's boss is listening, make sure it's gotta work.
Somerset can work that out for him. All right.
Wouldn't it be also a first for Robin Hood? Am I correct?
What's that?
Win the league?
Promotion or
No. Remember, Kyle brought him up.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Kyle brought him up before. Yeah. Next match, Somerset Eagles host Southampton Rangers. I'm gonna take the Eagles because they're gonna want to beat their neighbors. Punchy?
I'm going with Eagles for that.
Okay. Griff?
Clean sweep, Eagles.
You saw a message in there earlier. Don't sleep on the Rangers.
Bring some night old.
All right, so this one should be interesting. St. David's versus Vasco. Punchy, you're up.
St. David's at home.
Yes.
Yeah. David's.
Okay. Griff?
Yeah. St. David's by a field goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm going to take St. David's, but I think Vasco is going to surprise everybody with showing up.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
What? How are they going to surprise you?
Because they haven't showed up the last 2 games, but they're going to surprise you and show up.
Showing up, see surprise.
Yeah, showing up, see surprise.
Right.
All right.
Antoine Russell double hat trick.
Yeah, well, Griff, you're up. North Village Rams can sink Young Man Social Club.
Woo! No, the interesting question is, do Village sit people and how desperate are Social Club?
Social Club need to win. If they don't win, they are relegated. Right now, they're 5 points behind Paget Lions. And if they get 6 points, they go to 16. But they better hope Paget lose 3 games. So that's pressure.
I have a feeling Village is going to rotate players and start resting them for the FA. I'm going on a draw.
Draw. Okay. I'm taking North Village. Punchy?
I'm picking North Village for that. That's the answer. They'll put the nail in the coffin. Just actually today, proved in terms of what it means to the FA Cup. Really, it was the FA Cup.
Right.
But I just think that the eagerness and I haven't talked to some of the players after the game. Just even though follow to go through whatever's left in the league, they're playing for integrity. Yeah. So I think it's hands down for North Village to beat Social Club and send Social Club down.
Okay.
And I think if that was true, then they would have held that 2-0 lead they had against St. George's 2 weeks ago.
No, just last week. Just last week.
Last week, all right.
Last week. Yeah. They paid it back this week.
But it's
Well,
saying
yeah.
if they want to see out the league and do the best they can, they wouldn't have made subs and relaxed in that when they're up 2-0. And they had won that game against St. George's, and they would have had the 3 points and been that much further in contention for the league.
Now, who knows? If they'd have won last week, they'd have lost this week.
Well, hey, if you're gonna be champs, then you gotta go through everything.
No, that's okay. All right. So now, this one should be a doozy. The Dandytown Hornets
PhD.
are hosting Crossroads.
Crossroads.
I'm going to say, in order for them to win the league, the Dandytown Hornets have to win this game. So I'm going to take Dandytown. Punchy?
That's it's just hands down. They'll win the league against Crossroads next week for sure. This week coming up for sure.
Griff?
I want to believe that they'll make the league interesting. That the Crossroads that scored a lot of goals today will show up against Dandytown and squeeze out some exciting 3-3 or 4-4 draw. But I think Dandytown's getting the hang of it, of stepping on teams next when they get up. So I'm gonna go with Dandytown and say that they got the harder champions and they figured things out.
Okay, all right. And the final game, Punchy, you're up first. PHC Zebras host Paget Lions.
Oh wow!
Where's that game?
All to play on for, and it's on the PHC. Yeah, all to play for prestige in that. You know, I think that's a little. You know, that's a good one. I think PHC will win that. I don't know. Paget ain't got no. Even if they lose, they're not going down. But I think in terms of PHC, I think PHC will win the game. No, they're going down. PHC integrity and just holding some integrity for PHC season.
Right.
I think they'll beat PHC. They'll beat Paget on that. They'll beat Paget for sure.
Okay. All right. Griff?
I think Paget's gonna want to pay somebody back for losing. PHC's gonna pay somebody back for losing yesterday, so I think they're gonna take it out on Paget.
Okay, so the three of us take the Zebras for the win. Punchy, because you missed the first half of the show, let's just get your thoughts and your opinion on the match today with North Village and St. George's.
Oh yeah, guys, I'm sorry, late, but yeah, I think what was most important about that game is that St. George's again. We're let's go to St. George's in terms of domination, in terms of possession. They look very good in a lot of times. The finishing was still questionable, But I always thought that if Norfolk scored one goal and they made some substitutions that were very important, bringing on a Meredith for my position, it was a great goal. What also significant that terms saves that in the first half by Detroit Bell, the goalkeeper, made some very good saves. Whatever they were doing in the first half, I think Norfolk were able to think about make some changes. Jonte was playing too far from the goal. He's not really played well at all this season. But they put him back in the middle. He really matters. And then they brought John, like a double striker. Joe Ojai Bean just dropped behind him. And I thought they played over the top. And it worked. It worked. I think St. George's just faded. Now, St. George's still have a good bit of chances, but there was a very good situational. Terrence Frey got injured. They brought on Otterbridge, and and he really played a very good role in that. In the middle, once against the whole boy. I still think he's got a problem with his level, his distribution. But I think he really played well when he came on. 20 minutes that he came on and did well. And again, Amadio, the girl was a great girl. He caught him. He's on the right side. Red past two players, caught him on his left side, put the ball firmly on the goal, and such a really good goal. He has talent. I'm hoping that he can go on and build on this. He seems that he's not in the best physical shape that he should be in. But I thought,
we lost him.
We lost him. Okay.
Hey, well, I was
All
going to
right.
say before he comes back, anybody that was at the game or to get into a game is a sight to behold when all the Dio brothers get together and watch a game. Oh, they make some noise. They make some noise. I think security was creeping up behind Punchy. He was making off.
Okay. All right.
They enjoyed a $15 entry fee.
The emotional side of watching North Village play, the passionate side of watching North Village play.
Passion, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next week Sunday with another edition of the Island Stat Football Show. Folks, enjoy your week. Good luck in your picks, Griff. It's a chance to make a difference.
Future champ. That's why I put some respect on my name.
Can't make you a champion until you are a champion. Okay. All right.
Champion of Baden.
Okay. All right.
Enjoy your dinner, Bermuda.